Marcus Hale had always cherished his solitude. At 44, he worked from home as a freelance graphic designer, his modest house in the quiet suburb of Evergreen Meadows serving as both office and sanctuary. He valued his privacy above all, tending to his small backyard with meticulous care. One crisp autumn morning in 2023, while inspecting the area behind his shed after a heavy rain, Marcus noticed fresh tire tracks gouging the earth. Following them, his heart sank. A brand-new security gate had been erected right on his narrow strip of land 20 feet by 60 feet that bordered the neighborhood's common green space. This wasn't just any intrusion. It cut directly into what he knew was his property. Fuming, Marcus marched over to confront Victoria Lang, the HOA president, a sharp-tongued woman in her late 50s known for her iron-fisted rule over the community. She stood in her driveway, clipboard in hand, directing landscapers. "What the hell is this gate doing on my land?" Marcus demanded, pointing toward the offending structure. Victoria barely glanced up, her lips curling into a condescending smile. "Oh, that? It's a safety measure, Marcus. We're securing the common area against unauthorized access. It's barely a few feet of unused dirt, hardly worth fussing over. The board approved it based on the original neighborhood blueprints. If you have an issue, take it up at the next meeting." But Marcus wasn't buying it. He stormed back home, dug out his property survey documents, and returned with them clutched in his fist. "These surveys prove it's my land. You're trespassing." Victoria waved him off like a pesky fly. "Those are outdated. The board has authority here. Keep pushing, and we'll have to take action against you." Her threat hung in the air, laced with the kind of entitlement that made Marcus's blood boil. Determined not to back down, Marcus took matters into his own hands that very afternoon. He drove to the hardware store, bought a heavy-duty padlock, and secured it over the HOA's flimsy lock on the gate. "If it's on my property," he muttered to himself, "then access is on my terms." The backlash was swift and petty. By evening, Victoria and a gaggle of board members showed up at his door, demanding he remove his lock. "This is ridiculous," one of them barked. "Now we have to walk an extra 100 feet around to the other entrance. You're inconveniencing the whole neighborhood." Marcus stood firm in his doorway, arms crossed. "Inconveniencing? Try illegal. Until that gate's off my land, no one's coming through." The group left in a huff, whispering about fines and complaints, but Marcus felt a surge of defiance. This was his home. His right showed dare they treat it like communal property? Word spread quickly, and the tension escalated at the next HOA board meeting held in the community center. Marcus arrived early, armed with an official survey map that clearly showed the gate encroaching 5 feet onto his property. As the room filled with curious neighbors, he stood up during the open forum, his voice steady but edged with frustration. "This gate is a blatant violation of my property rights," he declared, projecting the map on a screen for all to see. He handed out copies of cease and desist letters he'd sent to the HOA and the contractor who'd installed it. "You've got 14 days to remove it, or I'm filing a civil suit." The room buzzed with murmurs. Some neighbors nodded in agreement, whispering that Marcus might have a point after all, who'd want their land snatched without a say. Victoria, presiding at the front, banged her gavel sharply. "This is HOA land by original intent. Your complaints are noted, but the board stands by its decision." Yet, the seeds of doubt had been planted, and as the meeting adjourned, Marcus overheard a few residents grumbling about the board's overreach. Retaliation came in subtle, insidious waves. The landscapers, under HOA orders, suddenly skipped maintenance on Marcus's disputed strip, letting weeds overrun it while meticulously grooming the adjacent common area. Then came the citations. Vague notices slipped under doors throughout the neighborhood for landscaping violations. Marcus's was the most pointed $175 fine for neglecting the community-facing green space, complete with photos of the overgrown strip attached as evidence. It was a clear setup, punishing him for daring to challenge their authority. Outraged but undeterred, Marcus escalated. He filed a formal complaint with the county zoning officer, Robert Vance, a no-nonsense bureaucrat who reviewed the plans and shook his head. "No permit was ever issued for that gate. It's unauthorized. And that fine? Don't pay it, it's baseless." Bolstered, Marcus delved deeper, obtaining the HOA's original development agreement from county records. It confirmed the strip was unequivocally his, deeded to him when he bought the house. He wasn't alone in this fight. His neighbor Tom, a retired firefighter with a gruff demeanor and a wealth of local history, stopped by one evening with a stack of old documents. "I've seen this kind of crap before," Tom said, handing over the original HOA handbook. "They tried pulling strings back in the 90s. I'll write a statement supporting you, hell." Half the block's fed up with Victoria's crew. Grateful, Marcus installed a motion-activated trail camera hidden in the bushes, ready to capture any further trespassing. The camera paid off sooner than expected. Late one night, it recorded grainy footage of an HOA board member Victoria's right-hand man sneaking up with bolt cutters and snipping Marcus's lock clean off. The audacity fueled Marcus's fury. He called the sheriff's department immediately. A deputy arrived, reviewed the video, and headed straight to Victoria's house. "Ma'am, this looks like criminal mischief and unauthorized access to private property," the deputy said sternly. Victoria protested vehemently, claiming it was community maintenance, but the deputy wasn't swayed. She was taken in for questioning, her face pale, as neighbors watched from their windows. The incident ignited a firestorm. Marcus posted stills from the trail cam on the neighborhood online forum, anonymizing nothing. "HOA caught red-handed trespassing and vandalizing my property," he captioned. Outrage exploded, comments flooded in, decrying the board's thuggish tactics. A petition for a special board meeting circulated, gathering signatures overnight. Whispers of corruption began to surface. Was this just about a gate, or something bigger? Official investigations kicked into gear. County code enforcement slapped the HOA with a violation notice for the unpermitted gate, giving them 15 days to remove it or face hefty penalties. They also probed the misuse of $8,000 in HOA funds funneled to the contractor without proper bids. Digging deeper, officials uncovered a bombshell. The HOA had attempted to amend the community map to claim Marcus's land as their own, forging ahead without his required signature. It screamed boundary fraud. Marcus's attorney wasted no time, filing a complaint with the state HOA Oversight Board and seeking an injunction to halt any further modifications. Tensions peaked when an anonymous note appeared on Marcus's door. "You'll regret this." He handed it straight to the police, who treated it as a credible threat, heightening the drama. Who was behind it? Victoria? A disgruntled board member? The neighborhood was abuzz with speculation, dividing residents into camps: those who saw Marcus as a hero fighting tyranny, and others who whispered he was tearing the community apart. The board's downfall came swiftly. At the special meeting, a recall vote passed amid heated arguments, with shouts of "crooks" echoing through the hall. Victoria and her allies skipped the follow-up session, their absences sealing their fate. Resignations poured in, leaving the HOA in chaos. A state investigator, Sarah Brooks, arrived like a storm, poring over emails that revealed a web of deceit. The board had planned the boundary fraud deliberately, with similar schemes attempted on 2 other properties to expand common areas and justify higher dues. Worse, HOA funds had been siphoned through a shell corporation for personal gain: lavish dinners, unauthorized trips. Arrest warrants flew. Victoria and 3 board members faced charges of fraud, falsification of records, and embezzlement. Victoria, cornered, took a plea deal, agreeing to testify against the others in exchange for reduced time. The revelations shocked the community, sparking debates about HOA power abuses nationwide. Was this isolated, or a symptom of systemic rot? In the fallout, the county moved to dissolve the HOA charter entirely. At a packed town hall, residents voted unanimously to liquidate assets into a new Evergreen Neighborhood Cooperativa volunteer-based group with no mandatory dues or fines, focused on genuine community needs. Marcus received $2,000 from a state fraud recovery fund, which he used to buy a new lawnmower and a sturdy mailbox, symbols of his reclaimed autonomy. The cooperative repaved walking paths and committed to publishing all decisions online for transparency. But the controversy didn't end there. The U.S. Attorney's Office escalated it federally, building a conspiracy case involving wire fraud and money laundering tied to the shell corporation. Indictments were unsealed, naming not just the board but shadowy contractors with ties to other HOAs. Media outlets picked up the story, painting Evergreen Meadows as ground zero for a crackdown on corrupt neighborhood associations. Critics argued it was government overreach, while supporters hailed it as justice long overdue. In the aftermath, Marcus fortified his land, filing a protective easement to prevent future encroachments. He planted a row of dense cypress hedges along the border and erected a bold, private property no trespassing sign. The community began rebuilding, hosting town halls on positive changes like a shared workspace and volunteer safety watches. Marcus spoke at one, his voice resonant with hard-won wisdom. Standing your ground isn't just about one strip of land, it's about vigilance against those who abuse power. We exposed the rot, but it could happen anywhere. Finally, the gate was torn down, its removal a cathartic event watched by a crowd. Evergreen Meadows returned to a fragile peace, but the scars lingered. Marcus resumed his quiet life, designing in solitude, yet forever changed. His fight had unraveled a tangled web of deceit, proving that one man's defiance could topple empires of entitlement and ignite debates that echoed far beyond his backyard.